that we record. Jeff, do you have it? Okay, you do.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Um, it's 7, so let's get going. This is the August 26th regular Board of Finance meeting, 2026. We'll go ahead and start the meeting and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
States of
America
United
America,
States of
and
America,
to the
and to the
republic
to the
republic
for which it
which
republic,
stands, one
stands
nation,
one
stands
nation,
under
one
God,
nation, under God, indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty
liberty and
and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
All right, welcome everybody. Let me see if I can pull up my agenda here. All right, so we'll do public speak real quick. Um, Looks like we've got Linda, our emeritus member, one of our emeritus members. How you doing?
Hi, all set, just here to listen.
Just here to listen. Oh, Matt, you did make it great. We'll go to Joanne next, and we'll come back to Matt.
Same thing, just listening. Thank you.
Very good. Welcome, welcome. Matt, do you have anything before we actually get in the meeting? No. Okay. And then we have somebody just is on there as Andover resident. I don't know who that is, but if you'd like to public speak, now is the time.
Yes, I just had two quick questions. I don't know if they'll be able to be answered for tonight. One is,
what's your name?
my name is Ben. In the treasurer report for July, there's 14 checks that were written as fraudulent. Do we know the source? Did somebody get a hold of the checkbook and write checks? Or what's the story behind that? And then the other question I have is July 2nd, a $3,000 check was written to Jeffrey Ballard. Is there any idea what that is for? Other than that, that's all I got.
All right. Well, hopefully we get to that during the administrator's report, or Jeff can chime in. Thank you for those. Ben, I believe you're doing this. Okay. Going back up to my agenda. Changes, additions. The more I think about it, the more I think we want to punt on 6A. The funding process. I think we maybe give it a month to see how it plays out. I haven't had a chance to read and digest the legal guidance, so why don't we just, my opinion would be, why don't we strike that for tonight and come back to it next meeting? What do you guys think?
I don't know. Maybe we should just talk about it.
Okay. I mean, we can leave it. It's fine.
I mean, unless I don't see any reason not to. We didn't talk about it last month.
Okay.
Despite the fact that we had gotten notification of it, maybe we should just have it out there.
Sure. We can just chat about it. I don't think there's any action.
There's nothing we can do. Yeah, but I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll leave it then. Okay. Anybody else have any additions, deletions they want to bring forward? If not, then we will move into the town administrator's report. Matt, you are up, sir.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, the AES bathroom renovation. I know that they must be getting close because the school's starting tomorrow. I was not at the most recent update, but the previous one I was at, everything was on schedule to be completed in time for school opening. So I did not get a chance to go over there or take a look at it, but perhaps Bill or somebody else that may have been on that meeting can share on that. Go ahead.
I was there on last week, but not this meeting. And last week, it sounded as if everything was scheduled. There was no delays. Everything was happening right on schedule. So I'm assuming it's all set.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I know I was off last week on vacation. I did submit a report to the select board. I didn't have time to do one individually for the finance committee. I know we did provide some information that I know that Rob had passed on regarding budgetary information from our QuickBooks based on what our auditor's report has. So, but the only thing I know that I've mentioned at the select board is that there's some items that I'm going to be looking to ask the finance committee for. I think that there's some items that from operation of my office regarding either a laptop computer and a few things that we don't necessarily have a budget line item for, but once I get some more information, I'll provide that to the finance committee. So I'm here to answer any other questions that you may have. I could probably touch base on the fraudulent checks that was raised by a member of the public. From what our positive pay system, if there's any checks that seem to be out of the ordinary, red flags them, and there seems to be some I guess they were basically like our old checks that were sort of whitewashed. They were like a sign. I could probably provide copies if somebody wanted to stop in, just photocopies of them. But they're basically old actual checks of ours that they cross out the name who they were for, but they're signed by Valerie and by Eric Anderson, and they just changed the check number and amount. They're for the most part, I think, as we've seen, they're generally small, even amounts like 900 or 750. So there've been several of those. They sort of get they get positive pay. We say that they're a fraud, and then they give us back the money. So it's a system that's showing that it's actually working. So if there's any issues, sometimes there's checks that get positive pay or fines that says like it's made out to the state treasurer's office, and it comes back saying wrong payee. It says state of Connecticut treasurer's office, and obviously we'll approve those because they were legitimate and they were signed by both myself and the first selectman. So I'm happy to answer any other questions. I don't know. I didn't really look into the Jeff Ballard one at this time, but I can do that.
When Jeff Ballard, wouldn't that just be for his garden thing?
Probably for the garden. I would imagine it's for the garden.
It's for the garden. If we look back at the approval amount that was approved the budget this year, somebody help me out. Wasn't it $3,000 or something like that?
Probably around that amount.
In
It's
that
probably a
order of
reimbursement.
magnitude. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah, it was around $3,000. So I think it must be for the garden, Ben.
I have QuickBooks up open on my computer. I just haven't, we got to my report so quickly into the agenda that I hadn't had time.
And so Matt, I'm not sure I quite understood the explanation you gave of the fraudulent checks. Are those test checks that we sent out, or
these are not? Because we don't know what original check, if somebody had gotten a hold of one of our old checks that had previously been cashed, and they just sort of whitewashed like the names and stuff like that. It looks like one of our old checks from like a year ago or something.
The way that this is working is these people who are committing the fraud are sitting there taking the checks and putting them through a program like Adobe and wiping out the payee and the amount and leaving the signatures and the bank information. And then they're typing in new information so that they can go to the bank and cash it. And so they'll change the check number. What Matt is talking about is Matt and the finance department have been doing positive pay, and that is something new that we got into. And if you would look back at old previous checks statements, you'll sit there and see there's been a significant number of them. Those are actually checks, and they're at the bottom. They most of them hit at the end of the month. And majority of those are going to check cashing places where people are at the end of the month and the beginning of the month getting their monthly checks. And so you can sit there and see on the 29th and the 31st, there were 5 checks presented. And if you look in the other column for the ones that were presented on the 29th, you'll sit there and see that we got the money back. And if you looked in the beginning of August, you would sit there and see that we got the rest of the money back. So the treasurer has been doing a very good job of monitoring that. Matt has been doing a submission to positive pay moving forward so that we're trying to eliminate this. But this has been an ongoing problem, and it's going to continue to be an ongoing problem. We just have to be diligent about monitoring the bank and monitoring that we get the money back. So,
how are they getting our check copies?
That's what I was wondering. How they get the check to start with.
Our check could either have went to a bank. You have problems with people at banks, and you have problems with people who are receiving the checks. A lot of people, Nick, are depositing the checks by phone. They're taking a picture. And so it is problematic for us. So what the bank is asking us to do is to utilize the system where we're telling them what checks are going to hit our account before they get released.
Oh.
All right.
That
So
makes sense.
So what they're supposed to do, what the bank is supposed to do, and it doesn't always happen. And some of these checks are not $900. Some of these checks have been $18,000, and you're sitting there. You had ACHs that were more significant, up around the $9,000 mark when we first started having this. And we started having this right when Lisa was appointed treasurer. So this has been an ongoing thing for about 4 or 5 months. We keep fighting through it. You guys get to see it. The public gets to see it. So yes, there are fraud checks there, and there are deposits coming back for those fraud checks. So they've been doing a very good job of doing it. Lisa is actually not on vacation. She's not going to join us tonight. She is dealing with a move for a family member who took a teaching position in New Hampshire. So just to let everybody know. And then what was the other question that he asked? Oh yeah. And my question is, when you look
Community
at
garden.
yeah,
The garden.
when you
Community
look at
garden.
that, isn't it in the memo? Like everything about those checks should be in the memo as best we can. And then if you see something you don't like or you need to get details on, you should. But on him, I gotta believe it says community garden in the memo. I can't even find him, but I'll look for him. You guys keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, that memo was a great addition. Thank you.
No
Whoever
worries.
did that.
So I guess, Matt, looking at the report that you had given to the select board last time they met, there's some stuff going on at the transfer station. Have we made progress?
As far as the hiring of a
Yeah.
attendant, yeah, we'd considered 2 people for the position. Basically offered both the job. One of them declined to take it. He, for whatever the reason was, it had to do with the number of hours, and it came down to 1 hour. So it was their decision not to take the job. But we have somebody that's now working. Obviously, it'll be probationary. The person signed up to take the class to get the certification for a transfer station attendant through the DEEP. As I mentioned in my report, that I had already taken that course. So if we need be that, we just basically the DEP would like to have somebody there all the time that has that certification, but they're also understanding that if we hire somebody new, that we'll generally have somebody there. Steve, who's there, is certified, and the next class for the test is September 11th, I believe. So the new gentleman, Tom, is taking that position. So.
Yep.
Matt, I have a question.
Yep.
Can you tell me what's going on Bunker Hill? There's some kind of construction or something? The road's closed?
In Coventry? Yeah, Coventry's doing a bridge project up there. So there's
Oh,
going
it's
to be
in Coventry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw the same thing, Liz. I was
Yes.
like, what? Well, these poor people.
yeah.
Yeah, it would have been tough if they coordinated both at the same time, and then there would have been a no man's land. So
Oh,
Yeah.
they're doing
and I
they're doing a
saw
bridge in
the
their
name-
town.
I saw the name of the crossroad, and I'm like, I don't recognize that. I mean, I should recognize it. I used to live in Coventry, but I don't recognize that cross street.
Yeah.
I'm glad
I
you
thought,
asked,
you know
because I
what?
was puzzled too.
I was,
That's unfortunate for those folks, man.
oh, those poor people.
But then everything will be nice and pristine for after when it's done.
In another 6 months, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, those poor people.
Yeah.
But at least our folks can come down Route 6, and not
Yeah.
have to. Yeah. Okay. Thank
You
you.
know, I
That's
just
relief.
gotta say, somebody was complaining to me that lives on Bunker Hill, and I was like, what's the big deal? We're building a new bridge in for you. But now that Long Hill is closed, I'm like, it's a big deal.
Now
It's
you
a
get it.
pain in the butt. It really is, but
Yeah.
you gotta do it. So
Now you get it.
I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. I think it's worse for the Bunker Hill Road people, though, than for you guys. At least you guys have Hendy,
Yeah,
right? Bunker Hill.
it's a
It
long
was a
detour.
big. It's a
You gotta go,
long.
like,
It was a
out and around.
long
It is.
detour. Yeah.
It is.
So anyway, thank you.
Okay. And I guess anything else, Matt, subsequent to that document that you wanted to raise, bring up, alert us to?
No, I think I think that's all I have today. But I'm always present for questions that you have. So
I mean, I appreciate the info you got us in terms of our fund balances and whatnot. That's definitely something we want to
As I
keep
mentioned,
working
that
on.
the treasurer and the first selectman were, are integral to getting that information. We are
Of
going to
course.
try and, if you want to go through it, if you have follow-up questions on that, and if there's any issues, we can format it in a different way. This is just how it's came out, and we want to just get you the best information that we can, so you understand.
Well, like
how our
one of the things I was thinking about, and I'm just kicking this around, I'm making any formal requests at this time, was I was looking at some of the balances. I was looking at the road improvement fund balance, and one of the things that occurred to me was, you remember I was downtown hall paying my taxes, and Director of Public Works was in there, and we got to talking, and he mentioned there's a new process for chip seal. Yep. And that we might, I don't know if we're fully going to switch over to it or not, or what have you, but I was wondering if maybe we should have a meeting where he joins us and we talk about the road plan and we talk about where we're at as a funding level, where he's at in capacity down there. Part of my thinking is, okay, so we have $850,000 in a fund. How much work could we actually do? Right. And I have to think that a new process, as he described it to me, it was a 5-minute conversation, but as he described it to me, it's a little bit more expensive up front, but it lasts longer. Right.
Yeah, the rubberized chip seal.
That would in theory then impact how many miles you do a year. It's going to reduce, unless we increase the funding level, you're going to reduce a little bit how much we can get to a year, but increase its longevity. And just sort of like, what does that do to our road plan? He's been in there now long enough. I would hope he's got his arms around that and maybe could come chat with us about it. What do you guys think? I'm thinking it might be a good thing to do when we're not in the middle of the budget process too. Like when we're not flailing around trying to do all our other stuff. Maybe one
Yeah,
of
maybe
these
next
months,
month we could just have him
Mhm.
come as a guest, maybe.
if he would be available. I
It
think
looks
it'd be
like
nice.
there's two processes though, because if you look at Wales Road, I'm like, that looks like a brand new paved road. But then you look at some of the other roads they've done in town, and it looks like the old chip seal where they put the dirty dirt on top and then they sweep it. So I'm wondering, like, which one are we going with, and why would one road be done one way and another road be done another way?
Yeah, Wales definitely seemed different to me. Yeah, I agree. I
It's
think
like a
that about all
paved
the
road,
time.
and it's not like a
Wales
chip
and
seal.
Townsend were done all in one shot, right?
I don't know about Townsend. I use Wales, and I'm just saying. I've been on some other roads that have been done recently,
Yeah.
and it's a different process. And I'm wondering, why does one road, we all pay the same mill rate? Why does one road get this beautiful rubberized process? It looks like a brand new road, and other roads get chip sealed. It'd be nice to know the thinking or concept behind that.
Right.
So I don't know if you can talk to that, Matt, or if maybe Mr. McGuire
Yeah,
can
probably.
talk to that.
I can touch base, but I think it would best be better to have him come in and explain, certain roads were done certain ways. I know they're doing like a more reclamation up on Ridge Road, so that's a different process. So there's different processes that we didn't want to go all in, I guess, on all the rubberized chip seal because of the expense. And you also want to make sure which roads are deteriorated more or in a more in need situation. So the process is to try and get all the roads taken to get in a sort of a plan for keeping them up to date. And some of these roads are going to have the rubberized chip seals, other ones may not. But it would probably be better to have him come and explain, because typically I think we get a plan from some of the DOT that comes in and says, what their recommendations are for certain roads as well. So certain highway speeds, some of those were just dead end roads or so that they necessarily don't have the type of traffic that you would see on some of the other through streets. So you may not want to have the rubberized chip seals on some of those type of roads that are dead end that you're not going to see the type of traffic volume on. So I would defer to the Department of Public Works, the DPW director, to come and explain that.
Why don't we see if he's available next month for
Okay.
our meeting? And I think it'd be nice to talk about, because then we can all, and before we're going into budget season, we can have a sense of where we're at. And then so when we start to think about capital in 6 months, we have a better sense for it. I think that would be helpful. So
Sounds good.
You should consider having every department
yes,
come to
yes.
you.
Public Works
because
was just the first one, Jeff, I thought of.
I presented him with his budget in a new form from QuickBooks. We have some memorized reports, just like you guys have the memorized reports in front of you, that those reports in that form, based upon comments that you guys make or the Board of Selectmen members make are going to be presented to both boards in the same manner each month. So the check register, the budget versus actual, um, and what I also am going to do, Rob, on the Board of Selectmen side is also call each board and commission in front of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. We can share it because it will work. Have them come put their budgets into the packet, their detailed information into the packet, so you can actually see what's getting posted. Like when you look at what's getting posted into the roadwork stuff, you'll see a lot of asphalt. You'll see a lot of materials to sit there and get the chip sealing done. But it'll be helpful for you guys when you're going to budget to have as much information as possible and actually to have the people that are responsible for the budget talking to you. And there is also a lot of things that I want to do with you guys to talk about how we can make the budget a little bit different going through next year, because there's certain items that are in every payroll item is in a line item for a different department, but they really have no control over that other than ours. So there's certain things that I think might be better pulled out in a different way. So if you guys look at the budget to actual report and you sit there and you start thinking about it, I'd like to go over that with you and see if it maybe should be displayed in a different way moving forward, and also put more of the revenue items in there as revenue items and then put the expenses onto the because you don't see Town Aid Road. We don't see Town Aid Road.
I looked it up. I mean, I actually found the state of Connecticut, has a website you can go town by town and see what the grant is. We get about 185 a year.
185, and you
Yeah.
can sit there and see that it gets when you and look at all of these fund balances. One of the things we should do there is we should sit there, and there's not a lot of transactions that happen in these funds, but there are certain funds that have transactions that we should be looking at them in detail and showing the public and saying, hey, okay, this is where the money's going, this is the vendors it's going to, and we'll move on. But there's a lot more information now available. The board and commission reports have been finalized. These reports have been prepped and are easily prepared. And so now it's just a question of making sure everything's reconciled and moving on. So
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I think it makes sense to start with Public Works. They're a pretty big factor. And then we can move on and think about who we want to bring in for October. But let's see if we can do September with Public Works. I think that'd be good. I don't want to weigh it down on meetings with multiple, I want to get people in and out as quickly as we can. We will tee them up right at the start of the meeting and then move them along so they don't have to spend their whole night with us.
Yeah, and maybe it depends on how big of a group it is. Like
yes,
community garden could come in with probably the rec committee or
I'm thinking the big boy, I'm thinking Public Works, Fire Department, our big ones are kind of would be standalone, I think. And again, this hopefully preceding the budget process so we can digest it, think about it, get our arms around it. And then when we hit crunch time in January, February, we'll have a better sense for everything. I think that makes sense. All right. Okay, so that concludes the administrator's report, unless you have anything further, Matt.
The only other thing was that I know that there's been talk that we want to try and have a tri-board meeting, and
right, yes,
and I just wanted, because we're having this meeting here, if you would maybe just start with your group, just come up with a possible date, and then from there we can, I'm pretty sure that because you're a pretty good sized committee that I'm sure we can get the select board to follow suit, and then just touch base with the other side, the board. So if we can, if you want to, I'll send you a note in the next 24, 48 hours, just so we can try and pin down a time to at least start planning that.
I think we discussed it last time, Sam. We were trying to get a time this time. We were trying to put a date in the calendar, but
yeah.
I mean, we're down 2 members tonight. Number one, number two. I mean, I can speak generally about my availability, but I'd have to look at my calendar. But I think generally speaking, Wednesday nights are pretty good for me. Some Thursday nights could work. Mondays, Tuesdays aren't impossible. They're just harder. I have to check my daughter's gymnastics schedule. They went and they changed the practice times, and now I think she's got practice at 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. So I'd be driving home from Hebron, trying to log on, and or getting physically to the town hall. It might work, but I can vouch, I can say like Wednesdays work for me. So if we want to pick a Wednesday, that would be okay with me. I don't know if anybody else has any stuff like that where they're just dealing with kid logistics or whatever that you want to knock out, and then we can kind of focus in on what's left.
I have a problem on Wednesdays, starting September 2nd. I'm going to be in charge of driving grandchildren to hockey practice. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
that's-
goodness. Hockey. I have heard about hockey parents and the travel.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
oof.
Trying to do my part to make life easy. So Wednesdays are going to be a problem in the next month
Okay.
or two.
Maybe we can find a third. How about Thursdays?
But Thursdays are okay. Um, except for September 24th. Thursdays are okay.
Okay. Heather, Nick, you guys chime in too. What's good for you guys?
I'm looking at my calendar.
Okay.
I'm checking right now too.
Thursdays are usually good for me.
Are or are not?
Good. Are. Yes.
Are good. Okay.
I could probably make Thursdays work.
So our September meeting, I believe, is scheduled for the 23rd. That's a Wednesday, obviously. Hopefully, well, we'll see about you, Liz, but that's your regularly scheduled meeting. The
Right. I
Thursday
will.
before that would be the 17th. We could think.
Yeah, I mean, I will be available for regularly scheduled Board of Finance meetings.
You still want to
That's
add
priority.
to Wednesday. I
Yeah.
get it.
So if you,
I get
I
it.
mean, but
So we could do it under a regularly scheduled meeting, is what you're saying, on the regularly
Oh,
scheduled Wednesday.
Right. I think what Liz is saying basically is don't add more Wednesdays.
Don't add other Wednesdays, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't give her more Wednesdays, please.
So why don't we just try and have a tri-board meeting on a Wednesday, on a regularly scheduled Board of Finance Wednesday if we can.
That would be the 23rd of September. The other option would be we could pick like the 17th, which is the prior Thursday.
But again, that would not be
Jeff,
good
do you
for
have
Liz,
thoughts about what do you think about your board's availability? Do you have any sense? I know you got some new people.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but
Yeah.
I mean, let's just schedule it. Let's give 3 dates. You guys give 3 dates. We'll go to the board of selectmen. We'll sit there and see if those 3 dates work. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have to do this on the meeting. You guys can do this by email after the meeting. And let's just come up with a time, coordinate it with Matt. Matt can send it out to the board of selectmen. We'll sit there and come back. I mean, it depends upon what kind of meeting it is. This meeting's probably got to be in person. I'm just letting everybody know it's probably got to be an in-person meeting. It should be an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting all those boards together. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So just
All
do
right.
it after the meeting and just come up with 3 dates, or Matt, the board of selectmen will come up with 3 dates and send it back to the board of finance and sit there and see how your attendance would be with that, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
That works. All right, so TBD on that. Very good.
I had a question on Matt's report. Where are we with the collective bargaining? Is that all done?
No, we're still working to schedule another meeting with the management, and then we'll get into that. So we were going to try and do that this week once I got back from my vacation, but I'll be circling dates to the rest of those that are involved, so we can
Thanks.
try and move this quickly now that we're getting into the fall.
Liz and I met today and discussed what was going on. We were both in the town hall, so we'll sit there and circle back with Matt. We just need Heather to come up with there's certain things that we believe we need to discuss with the union, and then Matt can schedule that appointment and get this over with.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Unless there's any other questions, we can move on to the budget to actual and check register. Which should be in our packet.
Yep,
Which is in
it
our
is.
packet. It's in our packet. you know, I, I worked today. I haven't poured over this, but we're into the new fiscal year. So a lot of this you're seeing small percentages instead of, what we were looking at last time.
Right.
Yeah, I just had a couple things I highlighted and
Go
they're
ahead.
little, but
Go ahead.
so on 4145 civil preparedness, I mean the budget for the salary is only $1,000, but it's at 100% already. Is that something we pay for that person up front?
We're gonna have to look at that one.
135-100 under civil preparedness, $1,000
Yeah.
spent.
Yeah,
I mean, it sort of seems like for such a small
does.
amount, maybe we do just pay it lump sum, but I don't recall.
Yeah, I think if Lisa was here, we'd probably be able to
Yeah.
So that,
check it
yeah,
out.
sure looks like that.
Maybe Matt
Yeah.
could take that back,
To,
that question back.
to Lisa.
Matt, just so you know,
Matt, you're on mute.
you're on mute.
Listen.
I have a, go ahead,
Matt
Jim.
has 3 different computers or 2 different computers that he deals with. So he has
Oh.
one computer that he's on to do the meeting and a camera, and he's looking off at the other computer that sits there. And so
Oh, okay.
probably a better question to Matt is, Matt, where are we with the IT changes?
Oh.
You can answer that one later. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I'll defer on that.
Yeah. So Matt has the ability and Lisa has the ability to drill down. I would sit there and help Matt today, but I can't sit there and I have a flaky internet with my office. So I'm having some problems today. So I cannot access information like that. And I'm sure what Matt's going to find is if that's actually a payroll transaction, it's a journal entry and he'd have to get into the ADP system with the finance department. So highlight that one, Matt, and bring it back to the finance department and we'll get an answer to you, Heather, or Liz, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, listen,
The other,
here's just as a global thing. It's only 1 month into this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
8.3% is the number for the month.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
can sit there and see how the revenue is a lot higher because we're collecting our first quarter. So we're collecting July, August, and September, kind of. So it's a little bit higher. It's not as high as we would want it to be, but it is higher than 8%. And then anything in the expense side that's over 8% or a reasonable number. I mean, there's a lot of annual fees that all of these companies come and bill January or July 1st to get paid right in the beginning. So you'll sit there and
Okay.
see some big numbers in some of the memberships and those types of things. But yeah, 8.3% is the number. And the biggest problem that I honestly see on this is the ECS funding is not in the revenue side. So the bottom line looks really kind of bad. So we have to put our expected ECS revenue in on the budgeted side so that our number looks better at the bottom. So we'll get that done within the next week. So by the time you guys have your next meeting or this information gets prepped for the Board of Selectmen, it'll be corrected.
where are you seeing that? The ECS funding?
Yeah.
If you go to the
Okay.
top, right? So like if you guys we're reading this, page 1 of this report,
Yep.
the information in the top half is all the revenue for the town.
Right.
Right. And when you sit there and you look at the second section for 4,300 intergovernmental
Right.
revenues at the bottom,
Yep.
the last line is
Oh,
ECS
ECS.
funds. And when you
Oh,
look
it's
over
not
the budget, it's zero. It's $2 million.
Okay.
So it was in your budget. It was calculated out what's got to happen. The state will end up paying us, but that number needs to get put in there as the budget got input by the treasurer. So,
Okay.
Do you ever know, Jeff, if they pay that lump sum or quarterly or something?
oh God, Matt could probably drill down on it for last year. They usually drag it out to the end of the year, and they don't pay it quarterly. I'm trying to remember the numbers that I saw. I thought it was they paid us twice a year. They let us wait like 6 months and then they pay us, and then they wait till the end of the year and they pay us the other half of it.
Okay, so we get about $1 million twice.
Correct. Yeah. And it's not enough. And if somebody wants to do some digging, the ECS calculation is a big problem for me because of how it gets done. And that would be a great project for the Board of Finance to sit there and go and research on the state side as to how the state calculates our ECS funding and why Andover honestly gets screwed related to the ECS funding.
So drilling down last year, it looks like we got the deposit on October 31st for looks like about $500,000.
Quarterly.
Looks like there was another $500,000 on January 31st, and then on April 30th, 1 million. So it was like a
interesting.
quarter, and then
Quarter, half.
I was only
Sure.
remembering the $1 million.
Okay, well, that's a thing.
when I say it was
But I see what
501,000 and $1,002.
We have to be able to track something that's anticipated like that we know we're gonna get.
No.
Right. That's what you're trying to say, Jeff, right? Is we need to display that in such a way it doesn't
Well,
look like we're
It needs to be in the budget. I mean, if you look at this report,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just from my standpoint, and you go to the bottom, and this is what I did, at one point in time, I went to the bottom and the budget shows a $2,395,000 loss. And so when I was sitting there going, well, that's not right. So I knew it had to be ECS. So, I mean, yes, if you look at this, and I haven't done the math. So there's certain things that, we have to check what's going on in the finance office and make sure we're right. I mean, you might have used $395,000 of funds to pay for last year as it would come off of this report, and if you think of it just as a business, you're not going to have enough revenue to cover your expenses this fiscal year. You're using your fund balance to pay it, but that's the $395,000. So that will show the entire year once we make sure that this matches the budget that was passed by the taxpayers.
So Jeff, we know what the amount is, or we don't know yet what the amount
No, we know.
For
We know.
ECS?
Yeah.
Oh, ECS is like it's been the same thing for 13 years.
Oh, so
Hasn't
okay.
changed.
It
It's just
doesn't
a hair over 2 million.
Yeah.
It-
$2,002,000, something
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And we know
It's
the
been
number.
flat. It's
We
been
know that.
flat for
Matt, what was the number in last year?
$2,004,782.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that's the number it's going to be again this year, Bill.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go through this, and if you have any questions, Matt can drill down on it, and hopefully what we can do, I mean, and you guys might even want to go through the check register, and then come back to this, or I don't know how you guys want to do it.
We usually do this first.
I put it in the order that I thought you might want it, and when I gave it to Matt and said, put it in the package.
The only other one that I had questions about was on the AHM Youth Services. That's 4419. That's page 6 of our packet. 6? Or yeah. It shows that we've already paid half of the budgeted amount to AHM. Is that something that's regular? We pay them half now and then half later.
Yeah, I think
They
they
send-
send
they
us an
submit a bill.
invoice.
Yeah. Sorry,
They
Matt.
send us an invoice for half the year, and then they'll send another half.
Okay.
So that's proper.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, since we're so early into the year, there's not a
It's
whole
really,
lot of-
yeah.
Yeah. But I just tried to look for stuff that was high in the percentages.
Right.
And I did find Jeff Ballard, that is for the community garden, and he's the one that manages that. So my guess is that he put in some receipts. Can you drill down into that, Matt?
He did. Matt's only going to find one line.
Yeah.
You need to go into the finance department and look at what he's submitting.
Okay.
I
Okay,
mean,
so he,
he's
Yeah.
going to Home Depot, he's going to the supply people.
Yeah.
He's creating
Yeah.
like a business expense report for the garden and for what he's doing. And I believe a significant portion of that was the irrigation system that we supposedly put
Yep.
into the community garden.
Mhm.
And
I can look into that.
it was July 2nd, and it does, and the memo, we did go through and try to um, add information where we could into the check so that people would have an understanding of what it is. So, like if you sat there and went through any of those checks, it should have some basic information for you in the memo.
Yeah, what they bought or
Might not
whatever.
be the greatest, but
Right.
it's
Yeah.
something.
Most of
No,
these
this
do.
is
There's definitely a
this
few
is
checks where
great.
there's blank, and I think some of it's the fraud. Some of these are blank for the name, and there's a couple that are labeled reverse check paid. Does that have to do with the fraud?
Yeah.
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 That's when you get the money back.
I mean, a lot of the blanks are deposits
Yep.
because you have the additions or all the funds in and out. So whether they're deposit or they're transfer. So um, I'll probably do it when we get to the checking accounts because it'll be easier to explain to you. But a lot of the transfers are in from other accounts. So the tax collector deposits into one account, and that's an account that earns interest. So immediately when the deposits go in, it starts to earn interest. And the funds for this account is set as a $600,000 uh, holding account. Like so, the bank always keeps $600,000 in this account that you're seeing, which is the operating account. So if there's extra money, it cleans it out that night to the investment fund, or if there's money needed, it takes it in from the investment and fund to cover the checks that are cleared. So let's get to the next section. I'll explain it.
Okay.
So any
I'm
checks
ready
that
to
you
move
guys
on.
want
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on unless anybody else.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Are you moving on from the check register, or are you moving on from the budget to actual?
No,
Moving on
to
from-
the check register.
To the check
To
register.
the check
Yeah.
register. Okay. So everything in the credit column is an out of the bank, so it's the part of the check, and anything in the debits are the deposits into the account.
Question for this July 2nd check to Shipman and Goodman. Maybe I should know this. I don't know. The Shipman and Goodwin check for the AES bathroom reno project for
They're-
4,000.
They're
Like, why are we?
the board's lawyers, so I'm assuming they had input on the contract and everything like that, but I don't know why that
would
would
we
be
be paying that?
ongoing.
Oh,
Oh.
you guys, well, I don't know if you approved it, but um, it is Shipman and Goodman, the review of the contract with the contractor. It was $4,132.50,
Yep.
and it was paid out of the AES Capital Fund.
Right, it's part of the project. You're going to have
Yep.
a little review of the contract.
Okay.
And along those same lines, I think you're going to probably see in the next months, you'll see a bill for Fuss and O'Neill, because I guess Fuss and O'Neill was originally working on the project before.
Yep.
And I guess it says that the finance committee had authorized them to do it back when they thought the project might not go out to bid, or they were going to do it. But so
Yeah.
there's still an outstanding invoice, I think, for Fuss and O'Neill. But you'll see that next month. But similar to, I guess, the Shipman Goodman invoice. But
do we
other than
know how
that,
much?
the other, I'd have
thought
to
we-
look it up.
I
But
thought we were caught up with them. No,
Absolutely not.
we're not caught up with them. No,
No, we caught up with them. We were way ahead of them. Their
Right, I
contract
thought-
their contract was into project maintenance, that is that one better come in front of both boards. So
I guess I guess it was a lost check from back in October. It was approved. It was a check that was written, and they're going to be reissuing the check because it never cleared.
so that's different from paying an additional bill like
Yeah,
should.
that's why. But it'll probably come on the check registry.
That one's much easier to pallet than saying
Yeah.
we're paying Fuss
Yeah.
O'Neill additional funds.
Right.
Quick question on 13658. No, I'm sorry, 13659, Tai Chi Planning and Policy Group. I was just curious what that is.
The community center, right?
There are planners.
Planner.
The town planner.
The town planner works with the P&Z, the Planning and Zoning Board, to develop the plan of conservation and development, and he's been engaged with them.
They're contracted.
Got it. Okay, I just wasn't following the description on that one. Thank you.
I have a question. Someone had asked me about this, and just curious. So we, in our contracts for the garage guys, I'm sorry, the acronym is escaping me. The guys that work at the garage, the public works guys. I guess their contract allows reimbursement for a couple pairs of boots a year. Is that right?
Well, Liz, that's in their contract. We need to sit there and discuss that.
Oh, it's in their contract. Okay, I'm
Their
just saying,
contract.
okay, it is currently in their contract, but my question is it they have to provide a receipt, right, to get reimbursed. It's not just
They do.
okay. That was my question. Okay.
I mean, the most recent one I saw is for the new employee for George.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll sit there and see uniform cleaning.
Yeah.
Who was that one?
Swiss.
Yeah, Swiss. Yeah.
Swiss. $101 a week.
Now,
It's
is there a
been
cheaper way to do that?
been happening for years. Probably
I mean, there's not a cheaper way to do it.
have them wash their own clothes.
Well, I know. I guess the way it was explained to me by someone who used to be on one of these boards was that it's not like regular laundry.
Oh, no, those guys are a mess. So
Yeah, you can't just put those clothes in your laundry.
You're gonna have
That's the way it was explained to me.
yeah. I mean, if you're paving a road or you're doing, you're working with
Tar.
tar and stuff like that. You need a deeper clean.
I guess the question is, I guess the question would be, is it the town's responsibility? Like if we provide them with their uniforms, which I don't know if we do. I don't know. Maybe that's something to talk about. But
I would think that would probably be in the contract too, right?
well, when
Probably.
Eric comes next meeting, we can talk to him about that.
There you go.
And
yeah.
piggybacking off of that question Liz had too, I'd be curious if it's just common in contracts of that nature.
I would think
it is.
I would think that's
Every town I've been in.
It's a good thing to research for
I mean,
sure.
If you think about it, if you put yourself in their shoes, I mean, I'd certainly want it to work that way.
Or
rather
boots,
than have
or
it run
boots
that
in this
through
case.
by- Oh, I don't know
Yes.
the boots, but yeah, the cleaning makes a lot of sense to me. But
More than a little Tide and OxyClean's going to get out for it.
exactly.
But you have to
But
remember, like, say the boots, we want to make sure that they have, safety boots, they have steel toes, they're more expensive, but it's, for either workers' comp or those type of issues, we want to make sure that for OSHA reasons that we have the right type of footwear. Not only that, but that we're not putting them out in on the streets with equipment that or materials that are substandard. So
There you
Yeah.
go.
We do the
Matt,
same
have
thing
you-
in our office too.
You do?
Yeah. Our place provides steel toe shoes.
Matt, in your experience in South Windsor, is that customary to have those items in the contract?
I was an elected official in Suffolk, but when I worked in Palmer and Granville and other towns, that yes, that's typical that there's providing the uniform service as well as reimbursement on clothes, and even like in police departments, we provide them with certain clothing allowances for their
Okay.
as well as providing protective equipment. So I think that it's for what we're paying Swiss. I know it's an expense, but it's I think a small price that is generally as Jeff mentioned, they've been doing it right along. It's not something that just jumped out of the blue.
No, it's just a question.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did we buy a tractor or pay on a tractor?
We bought a tractor a while ago. I'm probably still paying on it.
Seems like that's like I don't know what the cadence of the payment is or how much it is, but I just looked at that one. That
It's
one's
the
pretty
year.
big.
Yeah. We bought that tractor, I think, 2 years ago, Jeff.
It's what was it, 125,000 or somewhere in that park? 100.
Well, we just paid $47,800
Yeah,
on this.
it's probably a 5-year payment.
Yeah, it is. Where are you? So if you sit there and show me, Nick, like tell me which date.
Yeah, absolutely.
720.
13720 Santander Bank, John Deere.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Yeah. That's the new road tractor we bought a few years ago, 3 years ago.
Why did we pay 47,000 at once though? 48,000. Do we pay it like once a year or do
Once a year.
Yep.
Okay.
And even the truck is once a year. You're going to see a truck payment come up that's $125,000. It's once a year.
But
Got it.
The fire truck's the 125, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we also have the fire truck, and I'm not sure if we've made the last payment on the plow truck.
And the plow truck we bought.
Oh, okay.
So you have the plow truck and the fire truck and the tractor. Those are our 3 debts. So if you look at we probably should sit there and have a little section on debt so we all know what we got, and we should probably put it in this report and what our balance.
Years remaining, etc. Yep. Just so we know what's left.
Yeah, that would be really helpful for me. I was
Right.
curious why it was 48,000.
I vaguely recall the fire truck was a 10-year lease. I don't recall the other items, what the timing was on them, the length.
I think the plow truck was 5, but I do believe that the fire truck is 10.
Yeah, it is
It
10.
was 10.
It was an almost $1 million piece of equipment. So
Yep. It was made up.
Is the fund transfer every day that you were talking about, Jeff, with the has to be up to 600,000?
Mm-hmm.
Is that fund transfer?
Yeah, what happens is that's a fund transfer from one of our other accounts, Heather. So this is okay. Let's go to the other page just so we can see it. So you got this cash balance page.
Which
All right,
page?
well, it's
Which
page
page?
17.
17 of 25.
All right. So the account that we were working on was the set 511 account, which is the operating account. So when that account gets reconciled, it gets reconciled to $600,000 because what the bank is doing is requiring us to keep a $600,000 balance in to offset fees. So we don't pay any bank fees. So that 511 account is the account that all the checks go out of. The next account, the 5096 account, is the investment account, is where tax deposits go into. So when the tax collector is collecting money, it goes into that account. And that account, that 5096 account, so 10001, 5096, that earns 2.5% interest. The next account is the also tax deposits, but those are credit card deposits. that go in and get paid by credit card. And those dollars are supposed to get swept into the investment account. And that's a zero balance account. And the next account is the AES operations account. That balance is just from June 30th of 2025. That's the audit balance that was provided to us. And then the next account is the STIF account. The STIF account earns about 3.74, 3.75%. So the two accounts that earn interest are 5096 and the STIF account 2.5% and 3.75. And that's all we have now because we closed all of the other fund accounts. So the other 21, we haven't closed them. I'll sit there. We zeroed them out. So there's no money in those accounts. They were all earning us no interest. It's about $900,000. They all got moved July 1st. And it was all moved into the investment fund. And then from the investment fund, some of that money was moved to the STIF account. So,
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to, I apologize. I didn't mean to break in. The STIF account, obviously, we want to maximize. So the investment account, which earns interest, but a lower interest amount, you said like 2.75. To what degree can we get, we got $3.5 million in the investment account. How much of that could ultimately end up in the STIF account?
Well, you probably want to try to keep 1 month. So if you sat there and looked at all of your expenses, you want to keep like 8% of your fees there. I mean, our biggest problem, honestly, is when we have to pay the large payments the way that RAM has been. RAM was only on the RAM payment schedule got manipulated before I got here because people were trying to play the flow of when the funds were needed because all the towns wanted to keep their money. So they sat there and staggered it. And RAM is more difficult to deal with. So you want to have it be as much as possible. So really what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to work with the treasurer and with the town administrator to get those monies over there. And we just have to watch the timing of how long STIF takes to move money back.
Right.
Problem.
Is the investment account, it's quicker probably to move money from that to the operating account? Is that what we're thinking?
Well, there is no thought to it, Rob, because the investment account, everything else is a sweep account. So the account, the 1,000 account, 5111, it's kept at a $600,000 balance every day by the bank. So if you had 600,000 at the start of the day and you wrote $100,000 in checks, the bank is going to sweep $100,000 into the other account from the investment account to get it to 600,000.
Right.
And the other accounts are supposed to be zero balance accounts. That the other account, the 5129 account, is a zero balance account. And it's, like I said, deposits for credit card transactions. And it gets zeroed out as well. So if there's money in the account, the bank is supposed to sweep it into the investment account so it earns interest.
So basically, our finance department can kind of track this and decide at some point, okay, the optimal amount of money for us to have in the investment account is X. Exactly. Let's say it's $2 million, whatever. And then the rest we could move to STIF and we would have enough time if we needed it to go get it. Okay.
So right now, if you think about our July was a big collection month. So we collected a lot of money. There's a lot of money right now there because we've collected for the next 2 months. And so we should be moving more money from the investment account to the STIF account. We just need to get on a better cadence of doing it.
Yep. I agree. That makes sense.
The 5111 account is always a $600,000 balance.
Yeah, but what happens, Heather, is the bank does it based upon actual transactions through the account. So we might have some outstanding checks. So in this case, there's $150,000 of outstanding checks that haven't swept through the bank yet. So that's why our account shows $450,000 because there's $150,000 of outstanding checks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm very pleased at the consolidation.
Really nice.
A long time coming.
Long time coming. That's great.
Good work all around on that. And if Lisa was here, I'd definitely give her an attaboy. Attagirl, sorry. Next time we see her. All right. Any more questions on this page? And we want to talk about our capital reserve fund page.
Not
Which,
really. It looks
you know,
pretty straightforward.
this is great. I'm liking it. You know, as long as we're tracking this as best we can in real time, and ideally someday, what I'd love to do is have a document, probably not in this system, maybe a spreadsheet or something, that some of these funds don't get tapped very often. Some of these funds we know we're going to hit every year like clockwork, like when we pay the truck payments, you know, things like that. Or we've planned a certain amount of road work, you know, and we know that there was going to be, yeah, we have that balance, but we know we've got work coming. And, you know, just I would love it if we could get to the point where we know both what our balance is and what our planned expenditure is in the next however, you know, long we want to. Again, this is all, I'm still kind of kicking this around, you know, what ideally I'd like to see, but I'm psyched to see this. This is great. Some of these balances are unsurprising to me. The road improvement fund, the only thing I want to say about that is, did we consolidate? I remember there being in the audit, there were two different funds. Did we consolidate those two? There was a town aid road fund and a road improvement fund. Did we?
You'll find Town Aid Road later on.
Oh, okay.
And you have to remember that the prior fiscal year was a really difficult fiscal year. We didn't do a lot, right? So there's been a lot more done this year, and there's more money that's being spent out of these accounts than had been done in the past year because of the transition that we were under related to Eric and related to Jay. So last year and last summer was difficult, and this summer it has been much more work. So that road improvement fund is definitely going to go down. And what we should do is we should identify the accounts that have transactions in them, and you guys should see the transactions, because even though they're up there in the check register, you should sit there and see, at least from the fund balances, how it's happening. And that can be done. And like if Matt sat there and clicked on one of those numbers, he could sit there and tell you what transactions have come out of those accounts this fiscal year. And it's only July. But
Yeah.
this is stuff that we should be able to give you guys on a more regular basis. Now, some of these need to go away, to be really honest. You know, there's the library reserve fund. We've got to give $72.76 to the library and let them spend it on something. We overspent on the transfer station shed. We have to that's got to just be zeroed out.
Well, we need to do a fund transfer there, right, to zero it out.
Yeah. So I'll probably come back to you guys and go, I just want to move it from the general fund to this so that it's zero on our financial statements moving forward.
We don't want a negative number sitting there on our balance sheet over and over and over again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, it's hard to sit there and say it's on our balance sheet. It is on our balance sheet how we're looking at this.
Yeah.
How the auditor looks at it is a totally different world. He has a fund balance and he's sitting there. I look at that. I look at him like this is a positive to us. Like these are dollars that we've saved to get something done. And what we have to sit there and start doing is just making sure that it's the right number, and we're good with it. Either we haven't funded enough or we need to fund more. And each one of these is broken down exactly as the audit does it. All right. So when we rebuilt the financial statements, we rebuilt them to the audit. So in the audit, if you look at it, you'll sit there and see a capital reserve fund section. And this would, if we ran back the numbers to June 30th, 2025, you'd see the numbers that were in the audit. So some of these accounts haven't moved since the audit, and some of the accounts have moved. You know, there's been money put in or money taken out. So, but yeah. I think I think it'll work. I think, you know, moving forward and, you know, for all future boards, the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, we'll be able to get better information and sooner, because the person on the meeting, Matt or the treasurer, or even someone else can sit there and drill down on this information and give you immediate feedback as to what happened in that account and why it moved from point A to point B. And you know something I was thinking about as we're talking here, we should probably put a line over here, a section over here for last fiscal year, so that you can see how much it's moved.
Yeah.
And
That
then
would be
that
great.
way,
That
then
would
we'll
be
give
great.
we'll give you the change dollars. And then that way, what you can do is you can see funds that have changed and you can say, hey, I want to sit there and understand why we spent $200,000 out of this fund. And we can do that. I'll
That'd be
get that.
fantastic.
I'll
That'd
get
be
that
good.
done next meeting.
Yes,
There's
just
a-
looking at the last fiscal year for the road projects one, that we show at 515 as of June 30th. We spent 192,000 last year, and then we had credits of 385. So that was in the previous fiscal year. I know that we must already be, we're spending money, as Jeff said, for this current year for some of the things we're doing this summer. So what you'll just see this year is that we're going to spend more than we anticipate. So there'll still be money in it, but we'll be able to keep that.
Well,
we
you put-
budgeted
you put-
385, so we thought that would be spent last year. It didn't in last fiscal year, so maybe we'll do more this year to.
Well, you already put another 385 in
We
there.
did.
True. So
385,000 of that 846 got in there on July 1st.
Right. There's on the page 21 or 25, there's a number of the smaller funds that are negative. And there's two funds for school
Wait,
grants.
wait, let's go through this.
Oh,
You know
sorry.
what? Can we stop for a second?
Sure.
I'm only showing 17 pages. You're talking about
Yes, what
25
I'm showing,
pages.
17 pages too.
Yeah.
Eight-
Can you make
18
it
18 of the whole packet.
Sorry, the whole packet. I
right,
apologize.
of the whole
So if
packet?
you're looking at the footer on here,
Yes.
the page I was talking
Listen,
about.
listen, just go through each one of the pages. Like you were on capital reserve. Let's just go to the next one and it'll be quick. And then you guys can just sit there and ask whatever you want from each one of the funds.
Okay.
Right? So if
Okay.
you click on the next one, all you have is these non-major capital funds, and these are the bridge funds.
Yep.
Bridge and culverts.
Wait, non-major.
Non-major
Oh,
capital.
okay.
The next page.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Yep. Okay.
And so we'll just go through these so we can get, so that's the bridge and culvert fund. We haven't really done a lot out of that. That's the savings to get the
Yep.
Missoula Road project completed. Right. Then you have Bunker Hill. Those are the dollars that are in that fund right now. That fund should be $700,000. So there's $300,000 additional money in there right now. So we're working on closing out Bunker Hill. That should be closed out by the end of the cycle. And then you have this pedestrian bridge fund. That is honestly related to the bridge over 316. And that money needs to be moved.
That's old, man.
We're probably going to have the Public Works Department do a cleaning of the bridge top and move those monies out as a funding for the operations of Public Works. That needs to go. That's one that's
Yep.
on my list. So, all right. Anybody got anything related to those? Now, this is another one where it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be July 31st or August 31st, and then we're going to have the prior year number, and then we're going to have the change. And
Yep.
you guys will be
Perfect.
able to look at each one.
Yep.
Okay. So if you go to the next page, and because I know you're looking at this, Liz, on a
Yep.
piece of paper. So you got the non-major permanent funds. These are all of the donation funds
Charitable.
and charitable funds. These are the funds that will get updated with interest based upon their cash balance. And everyone except the Norton School Fund, it's 100% cash. The Norton School Fund is about $68,000 of stock in Bank of America. They get dividends on a quarterly basis. So each one of these accounts, the treasurer's office will calculate interest to add to their funds on a monthly basis, right? None of the other funds are going to get interest. So in the past, they've all had like 0.009%, and that was their interest rate on what they had. So like all of our money that had been kept in open space was the biggest one. It had $225,000, and it'll be in this section here. The fund balance is there, but it used to have a cash balance account. All right. So that's that next page. And then you got the next page, which is non-major special revenue funds. These are kind of all the oddball things that go on, right? So you got,
And this is the page I was talking about.
yep. So these negatives, these zero accounts, like they need to just be clear, like zeroed. So I will work with the treasurer to get these to be zeroed. So you got that. You got the connectivity fund will get zeroed. You get the historic preservation fund. That's actually got to be reconciled. Um, the school grant funds, to be really honest, Rob, that's a negative, but that's a negative from the audit. You know,
And it's just weird to me because we have it looks duplicative. You have school grants fund and school grants funds. That's weird.
well, if you think about it, what they're saying is that that fund has been overspent based upon its revenue that it's been driven to it. And I will just flat out tell you, we have no information. So we need to get it. It's on our audit. It's on the town's audit. It's there. But that's just a number that if you go back to the 6/30/2025 audit, that's the number you're going to find. I have no idea
Why there's two.
why it's there, what it's doing, but yeah. So,
Okay.
all right.
Can I ask a question on that one?
Sure.
The school lunch fund, I thought there was a line in the AES budget for lunch. Is this for AES or another school? Because it's AES.
This is.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. Is again, kind of what Jeff said earlier is we're trying to mimic the audit here, right? And the audit covers everything.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense, Jeff? Am I explaining that well, or do you think I missed the mark?
No, these are all things that end up on the town's audit. So that lunch fund, just so we're all, that's probably the cash balance that they have, that they're saying they have in their lunch fund.
Right.
I mean, Nick, it's just like everything. It's a small little business. It should be
Yeah.
accounted for and presented to you as a small little business. What are you generating from the fees you're collecting for? I mean, Rob, you can roll your eyes, but it's the reality of it. What are you collecting? What did you spend? What is spent? Nick, you have a good question. You have a budget for that, right? You're spending the entire budget for the lunch fund, but you're collecting money. And is that being put back into the budgeted line item or not? And this is all stuff that you guys need to decide how you're going to do oversight or not do oversight and what you want to do. But yes,
Yeah.
that is the number from June 30th, 2025.
So
2025.
2025.
Yep. Our last, because this one says July 30th, 26, but on the header, but this is from the last audit, which only gets you to the end of June of last year. Right. Okay.
I'm just kind of
Some of these numbers are updated. Like, for instance, the Town Aid Road Fund money clearly has gone up since the audit. We must have gotten a payment.
If you broke these down and you sat there and said anything that is operated by the treasurer's office is updated.
Right.
Everything that is controlled by the school and the school finance officer is not updated.
Right. So the Town Aid Road, the question I would have on the funds regarding, we have our road improvement fund and we have our Town Aid Road Fund.
Mhm.
Town Aid Road Fund, am I correct that exists so that we can take in the money from the state,
Mhm.
and then we would theoretically transfer that money out to our road improvement fund, right? So right now we have $340,000 in there, and we have $850,000 in the road improvement fund. So in theory, we've got over $1 million in total road money available to us.
Mhm.
So just so everybody understands, we have those two funds. We probably have to keep the two because in order to receive the money from the state, we need to
No.
maintain it. Is that correct?
I got Rob, if it was me, I'd look at that Town Aid
I'd
Road.
like to consolidate them, but
Well, I wouldn't consolidate them like you're saying. What
Mhm.
I would do is I would sit there because that Town Aid Road, you said it was $187,000 in funding, right?
I just had it up. It was just shy of 185. It's like 184 and change.
Something in that ballpark. So that's what the
Mhm.
state gets us every year. I would honestly put that on the budget as an income line.
Yeah, it should go there. I agree.
And then what you need to do is you need to fund the road improvement fund accordingly. So if this year you funded road improvement $600,000 in essence because you had No, well, it wasn't. It was about $400,000.
With 380, we put 385
plus
plus
187.
185. Yep.
Right. So you get $560,000.
Right.
And that's what you would fund for road improvement. And it would go that way. So it would be only one account and you would be able to pay attention to it better. And like that's, yeah, I don't like that there. I don't like the revenue hitting there because it's you don't see it. I want to be as transparent as possible. Everybody gets to see it. I don't care. This is what it's going. If you don't like what we're doing, that's okay. You can sit there and be angry at us. We'll try to do better, but this is everything that it is. So I would sit there and look at that and $340,000 and say, okay, let's next year move that to, as you said, Rob, move the 340 to the road improvement, but put the next year's allotment of $187,000 on the income side of the budget and, sit there and move from there.
Right.
So
Who has control right now, Matt or you? Because I was going to just share screen real quick. I want to show you guys what I'm talking about.
Jeff has control.
I gave it to you.
Okay.
I did. Okay.
Just let me know when this comes up. Because this is what the state data has. I assume there's some lag involved in this. In terms of because it talks about expenditures too.
We're not seeing it yet.
Not seeing it yet? Okay. Well, just if we can't get it to work, we can't get it to work. We'll do it next meeting or something. But when we talk about the roads, but I thought this was at least an informative thing. CT, the DOT webpage has a map, and you click on your town, and it brings up the town aid road stuff.
Well, if we print that out, we can put it in the package and get it to everybody, right?
Sure. I don't know how well this will print, Jeff. The way it's screenshot print, something along those lines. Hopefully, it would come out well. I don't know. I haven't tried.
Well, let's go through these funds.
We'll just let's move on. Yeah.
Let's go through these. So you got the Andover Public Library Fund, and a lot of these funds, I'm not sure we all know what they're meant
Purposes.
for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what every one of these funds' purpose is, but we're going to sit there and go through it. And then, this is where, especially this section, I think this is where the Board of Finance could sit there and direct to sit there and say, okay, we should be thinking about this. So the public library one, no problem. Andover Youth Basketball is like a pass through. That is funding that has come through parents, and that's what's available to the program for youth basketball. The next two small ones need to go away.
Yeah, that's ARPA. That's done. Right?
The community bike share, stairs share fund, that is something that Eric is working on. I do believe those dollars, I need to work on something else, but I think those funds have already been accounted for.
Those are for the bikes that he bought, right? The electric bike? Or bikes?
Correct. He got some funding, but what I think happened is the bikes were paid for and then expensed out of something else, and I need to sit there and get them moved out of that fund. All right. So
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just all transactional stuff, Bill, that, make sure that we
need to tap the right fund for these.
We need to get them moved so that they can be liquidated. In my mind, like they're going to come back to the town one way or the other, Bill. It's either going to end up in the general fund, or it's either going to be used for an expense for, one of the programs, probably from the community center standpoint. The garden fund is what is left in the garden fund. That will sit there and really have gone away because Nick, some of that money that he presented and got paid in July, that would have really affected the June numbers, so the July numbers. So we'll make sure that one is correct as well. The dog fund is from collections from licensing. You got the community investment funds. Those are also funds that are collected from the clerk's office. And I was working with the clerk the last couple of days to try to get all the statutory issues related to the money they collect, because it's the money they collect. A portion of their fees go into these various funds, and we have to get an understanding of what we need to do related to those. Um,
Okay, so Roberta's kind of coming up to speed on that.
Correct. And we've just been doing some research on the statutes to understand when somebody pays $150 for X and $130 gets reimbursed to the state and $20 is supposed to get kept in the town, where those $10 and $20 are supposed to go for every transaction. So
Hmm.
we're working toward it, but these still match the audit as to where they're at. Um,
Connectivity fund looks like it should go away.
The connectivity fund, we got to sit there and get that to go away. The farmers market, we need to get that to go away. The Eversource Energy Grant Fund, we need the Energy Assurance Grant Fund. We need to understand what that's for. Economic and Community Fund, that negative $15,000 means we overspent that fund in some manner. I got to look at that one in more detail.
We wouldn't have pulled the sign stuff out of there, would we?
No,
No.
no.
Sorry, I just shot in the dark. Go on.
No, yeah, yeah. So, Hartford Foundation for Public, the grant fund, they gave us some money. The Historic Fund Preservation is related to the money collected by the clerk's office. Housing Grant Fund, Miscellaneous Donation Fund, the Open Space Fund, at least we understand what that's for. School grants, those two funds, not sure. And they may need to be combined.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
we
we're
can
gonna
talk to Jody about
look at
that.
those. Well, I got to look at the audit. I got to look at how the audit laid it out because did they have a school grant fund A and a school grant fund B? It probably might be a typing error. I'm thinking
Could be.
one is fund and one is funds.
Yeah, I mean, it really looks odd. Yep.
Yeah, we'll sit there and get it. The school lunch fund is what they have from the lunch program, the student and the senior activity fund. Oh, you know what one of those might be? Do we have a student activity fund? That should be in here. Oh yeah, it's down the bottom. Okay. So you got, because it's student versus school. So you got school lunch fund, and maybe what we'll do is we'll try to segment these by school and by town. And then that way everybody will understand who's controlling them and what they're doing. Um, Senior Activity Fund is the community center, so it's the amount of funding that they've collected versus what they've spent. Same thing for the senior lunch program, so money versus what they spent. So there's available funds to spend when they charge $5 and pay $10 for the lunch. The severance fund has been there related to different employees when they leave. Social services fund, you have that. Student activity fund is the dollars collected by the school related to the students, and that's the balance they have available. Again, June 30th, 2025. Town Aid Road, we just talked about, that's what we get from the state. That's what is still available there. That Veterans Field Fund is $10,000. That's going to be moved to the playground and the pickleball program. That was $10,000 Hartford for the Hartford Foundation for Giving gave us as an additional funding source for that program. And then Veterans Monument Fund, that was the money raised when Jerry was doing a lot of the work down at the Monument Park. So all of that money, that $932,000, the majority of that money, not all of the money, and that's why we got to break this down, because we got to have the town money. All the town money was moved into the investment account. Those were all the accounts closed. So if you went through, there was like 21 of these that had their own bank account.
Yeah.
Some of the ones on the other side, all of the ones for the Norton Fund, the Brown and Brown, all those funds, they all had their own bank accounts.
Yeah.
But these dollars, the way to look at this, honestly, is this $932,000, the $138,000. So we're at $1 million, right? The money related to the culvert and the bridge. So now let's say we're at $3 million, right? And you come into the other ones and you have $2.6 million. So you're about $4.6 million if my math is even close. That's why you have such a bank balance.
Yeah.
Right? Just so everybody's aware, that's why there's a bank balance, because we've been either saving or planning.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. I mean,
Nice. It's nice to have that. It's
improving.
great.
We're getting
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
We are
Getting
getting
better
there.
every time.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. It looks good.
Thanks for the work.
Yeah, and to the extent we can clean up some of the smaller ones and make this even easier to look at, fantastic.
Yep.
Anything further on this, guys?
Good.
I would just notice that we didn't get anything from the school this month. I sent an email asking, I asked,
Yeah,
Kate.
Kate said she didn't get anything.
and she said she was going to check, and obviously nothing came. That's disappointing.
I'll have to ask about that. Oh, we have one other thing on our old business that we kicking down the road. Lisa's not here tonight. You know, we have that donation request item.
I think we should go
Oh,
away.
yes.
Just remove
I
it.
think, you know, we can come back to that at some point when we've got some time, and maybe after we've done all this cleanup with our funds and our accounts, we can talk to Lisa about that. But you know, for now, I'd like to table it.
Yeah, I
which
think
would-
she was thinking about it, and I see that
Yeah.
Diane Grenier's donation was on here, so I
Yeah.
think they've found a way to incorporate it through the maybe Hartford Foundation for Giving or something. Is that right? I remember.
I
Diane,
saw it on that page, like $10,000 or something.
Diane made a donation of $1,000, and I worked with the treasurer to create a line for her. That's not
Okay.
saying that it's. We just have
Doesn't
to
mean it's-
we have to write a procedure as to how
Yeah.
it happens, because what happens to the treasurer's office is it's like basketball, right? Basketball is probably the worst offender. So the basketball program gets all the deposits for all the kids and then drops them off at the treasurer's office and says, make a deposit. And then the basketball program sits there and says, hey, we have to pay all these refs. Go write all these checks to all the refs. So that's the issue that you're trying to deal with these charitable groups. They're similar, they're smaller, they're not as taxing as the basketball program, but they can cause operational issues within that department, and that's what we have to work on. So like the Board of Finance would really have to sit there and say, okay, here's the procedure, how we're going to do this, and this is what we're going to request that these organizations do. Like, okay, and it's probably something we have to think outside of the box on all this stuff. We have to sit there and figure out how to do it for the benefit of the groups, for the benefit of the community, just make it as easy as possible. But yes, Diane Grenier made a deposit into the town for $1,000. She wants to establish a scholarship fund. She sat there and did the program, and then she needs to answer all the questions, but she did something through Hartford Giving. So the Hartford for Public Giving is managing the bigger amount of money.
Okay.
So, right.
So, I mean, this is definitely something we'd want Lisa to weigh in on, because we want whatever procedure there is to work for her, to work for that finance office. We want it to work smoothly. We don't want a bunch of, you know, grinding gears every time something's got to happen.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. That would move us on to new business, 6A, which is the new process for AES operating budget funding. I think we've seen a number of emails. I'll just say at the outset, I want to see how this goes. I thought our older process was working okay, but that said, let's see. My main concern is that we have smooth operations, and that we don't run into a situation where a bill can't get paid, that needs to get paid. But, you know, see how it goes.
I can sit there and tell you, if we revert back to the way the policy was beforehand, right? Before we made the change to sit there and move all of the checks being processed out of two separate accounts, if we move it back to the way it was originally, we'll be fine, because what happens, Rob, again, is I'm telling you, it's a zero sweep account. So any check that's presented to get paid gets paid. So I would be willing to do that as well. I was trying to be reasonable, but it does mean a lot to the town because if you sit there and you think about it as the year goes on and the balance gets bigger and bigger and bigger and there's no interest being earned, it's not appropriate for the town. So I would sit there and tell you, I would be okay if we went back to the way it was 5 years ago and the checks that the school uses would be the 5111 account. And then those checks would go through this account, the town account, and everything would get paid appropriately. The school decides what it's paying. It has its own records. We can all get back on the same signings because what you guys have to realize also is when Eric left, a lot of things changed without a lot of approval. Like I think you remember the superintendent didn't want to sign checks for the town, but also Matt was never put on as a signer on the school account. A lot of things changed.
Yeah,
Not-
they were
not-
signing before Eric left. They were signing each other's checks.
They were signing each other's checks. And then, you know, Eric left and we were doing more review of the checks and to understand what was going on and trying to understand why things were happening a certain way. But the superintendent made her adjustment. I am telling you, I will sit there and I would, if we want to do this in the simplest possible way, I am flexible. We all need to work to make this happen in the appropriate way. But I would go back to the way it was 5 years ago. I know it can be managed now. Back when we were both on Edmunds, it could not be managed. It could be managed now within QuickBooks.
So, okay, as you know, the process I was talking about was the process in between, obviously, which was the just 10
Check
monthly
register
payment,
and the information
which
they
was worked out, by Eric and Val, couple 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. But what I'm saying is, let's see, let's talk about it as it goes, see how it's working.
Okay.
That's all. That's all.
I don't understand. So what changed?
So, okay, I don't know if everybody got copied on every email. But
Yep.
the change is that the Board of Selectmen voted to go with a process that Jeff devised, which
I like that.
involves setting up an account, a new account, a sweep account, as as he's described it. They put $100,000 in there, right?
No.
Okay, I saw those.
Wait, time out. That's not a new account. I apologize because I thought that was new.
No,
But-
I had wanted to set up a new account. That was
Okay.
the initial process. And then, listen, this is not going to be done simply or easily. This is going to be a battle because the superintendent and the Board of Education do not want to be transparent to your board or to the town. So you can sit there and say whatever you want. You can shake your head, Rob, and do whatever you want. But that's the reality of this. So what I asked for to make money for the town, to have control over the town's cash and the town's money, is that when they get funded, Heather, they present a check register to the treasurer. And the treasurer would make sure that those funds were available in their account. She would transfer the money to their account. They have an account, they have a Board of Education account, not even a town account, right? It's a Board of Education account at M&T Bank, same bank. We would transfer money in as they needed it.
Right. Okay, I saw that. So did that happen or didn't happen?
No, it did
No.
not.
So did something change though? That's what I'm confused as to what changed then.
Well, the way that it was working, right, was there were 10 payments made. So if the budget was $4.5 million, $450,000 would be put into their account on the first of every month.
Yeah.
What that does is that moves significant amount of funds into an account that earns no interest. So the point is, why not earn as much interest as we possibly can be, right? So, and I'm just telling you, the balance that's in the bank at the end of the month is what gets paid interest on. So if you look at the numbers that I gave you once upon a time, if there's $800,000 or $1 million in the account, it's going to earn at a minimum 2.5%. So if you have $1 million in an account, it's going to earn $25,000 in that 1 month. That's a lot of money, right? Am I wrong? I might be wrong.
No.
I
No?
got it.
not annualized. Anyway,
That's
the
what's the fun.
point is,
Yeah, divided by
you'll
12. $2,000, right? So every month.
So,
right.
so
So
what have
$2,000 a
you,
month, would be in theory $24,000 a year. If that might be high, but
Yeah. But it's money.
I don't disagree with that part
Yep.
at all. I want to see it work smoothly, and then I'll shut up.
Yeah.
If it's working smoothly, great.
I actually, we have to have a meeting with I mean, it's going to be a big meeting. It's probably going to be the town attorney. It's probably going to be their attorney. It's probably going to be the board of, whatever. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting. It's not going to, the town, I'm just telling you, we're not going to sit there and let the Board of Education have a problem. But the Board of Education and the Board of Finance needs to be supportive of having a conversation that will work to sit there and make sure that everybody does what's right for the town. And just telling you, I would sit there and go back to the way it was before, because I do think that would be the easiest way, because the checks would just get pulled out of the account and the banks would sweep the money from the investment account in, and there would never be a problem. And then what would happen is the money would always be in an interest-bearing account, whether it's in a 2.5% interest-bearing account or a 3.75 interest-bearing account. It would always be in an interest-bearing account. So I am willing to sit there and have a conversation. This first one is to sit there and go and do what was proposed, which was provide a check register to the treasurer's office when you're doing it. So like normally what used to be done in the past, and I don't know what happens at the Board of Education. I know what happens at the town now. 1 week is payroll week. That's what gets pulled out of the account. The next week is payables week, and that's what gets pulled out of the account that week. And it goes in a cyclical manner. And I don't know what the school does. I don't know if they run check runs every week, every 2 weeks. I don't know. But when they're running the check register, they're doing their payables. They do the payables and they say, this is the check register for that week. They used to bring those check registers over to Eric because Eric needed the check register when he signed the checks. They don't do that anymore. That hasn't been done since Eric has left. Matt, I don't believe you're getting any check registers, are you? Okay. So the check register would come over and it would say, we need $150,000 put into this account to cover these checks. We'd put $150,000 into the account to cover the checks. I had recommended putting $100,000 in as a starter so that the $100,000 would be like their cover. So in case something bad happened, they'd always have $100,000 at a minimum in that account. And that was my thought. But if their payroll sits there and says they need $200,000 put into that account to cover payroll for that period, $200,000 would go into that account to cover payroll for that period. All it needs is a reasonable exchange of information for the town to put its cash in the appropriate account. That was it. But I will tell you, Rob, I will go backwards all the way back 5 years ago when we did this. One account, it'll work. That would be the easiest thing. They would have the checks. And listen, Matt should be a signer on their account at a minimum. It's town money. There's not one person from the town that's on that bank account. That's the reality.
I think it would
Well, these
be
are issues we
better.
can talk about with them and see if we can get Jody to weigh in as well. Because obviously this process has to work for Jody, it has to work for Lisa.
Mhm.
It has to work smoothly. That is my number one concern. The interest is good, but secondary to that to me.
If you wanted to run, I mean, no matter what we do,
And I do want to earn the interest. That's good.
even if we went back to the way it was before, the school would still need to provide the same information because they'd need to provide the check register to the treasurer's office so they knew which checks were going to come and be cleared at the town level. So, and they would need to do, Matt, they would also need to do the positive pay or whatever it's called at M&T.
The fraud protection.
Their fraud protection. They do that now, I believe. I do believe they do it now on their account as well. So.
Why did we change from what it was done 5 years ago?
Oh, Heather. Okay, so what we did was 5 years ago, the decision was made to move to Edmunds software for the town and for the school. And when the decision was made to move to Edmunds software, it was made with the understanding that we could have one account, one file that we were accessing. Didn't work, had to have two files. So you had to have a separate file for the school and a separate file for the town. And Edmunds is not a very simple system. And honestly, the town got moved away from it 3 years in. You couldn't reconcile the accounts. You couldn't reconcile the way we were doing it, Heather, because we were using one town bank account. So this one town bank account was for both the town and the school, and it was very difficult to put the transactions in for the school to reconcile on the town level, and the school couldn't reconcile on its own because it was commingled with the town. So the decision was made to take those. Basically what happened was Eric, and I like how Rob says it, Eric and Val made this decision. No, I had been elected first selectman, and I sat there with Eric and Val and said, we can't reconcile either one of these accounts, right? This account based upon how it's doing. So it was a mutual decision that we would set up two accounts. And Val went to the bank at M&T. She used the school's tax ID number that is used for payroll. And if you look at the bank statements that I sent you once upon a time, it's the Town of Andover, the Board of Education, Town of Andover Board of Education, Valerie Bruno, and the address for the school. That account, there's no one right now as a signer, like I said, for the town level. But we had to do it, Heather, because it was impossible to reconcile. So at least when we did that, we could reconcile. Well,
So if we went back to one account and we pay everything, we could reconcile now?
yeah, because you know, I have been accused of trying to be a king. And one of the things that the king lost was I wanted to go to QuickBooks 5 years ago because I knew that the ability to go to QuickBooks and to do what's needed to be done on both organizations could be done within QuickBooks and have a lot of flexibility. So after about 3 years of attempting to try to work through Edmunds on the town side, the Board of Selectmen at that time determined that it was very difficult and moved to QuickBooks because there was no integration. And the reconciliation process is just so much easier. So right now, what I would do, what I would recommend as the process for the board, for the treasurer's office, is to get the check register, and all you would be doing is putting the checks in and coding them to the school account. It would have nothing to do with control over what they're spending, how they're spending it, nothing. It would just be you just input them. And to input, you know, the number of checks that they write, at one point in time, I did an analysis back before, when I first got involved in this, and I know the number of transactions. So what would happen, Heather, is every transaction that came out of the Board of Education that would go into QuickBooks would go in to be reconciled, and it would just have one line item. You would not be breaking down the expenses the way the school does, none of that. So, and then what would happen is it'd just be a sweep. If a check was presented, regardless of if it was the town check or the school check, it would come out of the account, and the investment account would be swept to fund it 100%. No failures, no problems.
Well,
I honestly thought about that when I was talking to Liz today, and I was like, that's probably what we should do.
I'm just trying to think ahead to the budget season when everyone is, there's a lot of friction. Would that help because we could see it all?
Oh, it would help immensely because transparency wise, it wouldn't tell you what they're doing, but you know how you go through our check register?
Mm-hmm.
You would be able to go through their check register and say, hey, what was this spent on? And then, because right now, I'll ask all of you, do you guys get any information to sit there and look at? Honestly, like to really, like what you do against the town, what you do for the town. If you go back to the pages for the check register, have you ever seen that for the school in the last 5 years?
I've asked for specific information and have been denied.
Yeah.
And as a taxpayer, not even as a Board of Finance member, look, Ben reached out and got, I don't know, maybe he was just looking at the packet, but obviously he's able to get information, like a taxpayer should be able to call the town and say, hey, what's this?
Mm.
And they
Yeah,
get it.
I
But
understand.
we should be able to get easy answers, but everything's always not easy.
Well, listen, I think if we go back to after having the union discussion with Liz and thinking about this, it really should go back to the way it was originally, and we won't have any problems. Honestly, the way that I'm asking for this to happen, and we could actually set up a town account like the other accounts are that are sweep accounts, and the school could do everything that it would want to do, and there would be money swept into that account to cover it, and it would be a zero balance account. And then all the money that the town holds would be available to generate income. Um, we could do that. I mean, but it does need to come back and be a town account because the town needs to have the available resources to generate as much money as it possibly can. So
Where do we stand right now?
I would sit there and tell you we need a meeting.
Yeah,
And
we do.
Rob,
Yeah.
since you have the relationship, you really need to get the meeting scheduled. Yeah. So I will sit there and send out an email in the morning, but I
Okay.
will tell you, Rob, that I would ask you to get the meeting scheduled so that we can all work together to get this done in a way that's going to work best for the town. So,
All right. I'll
right.
do what I can do. We'll see if we can get, Caitlin and her board. Again, if we're going to be working through this particular process at this meeting, then I'd like to see if Jody could make it,
Mhm.
because it's got to work for their finance department too. Yeah, to do.
And I'll get with Matt and with the treasurer, and what we'll do is we'll get with the bank because it might even be better to have a separate account that's a sweep account for the school. And again, it has nothing to do with uh, managing what they're spending it on. It has everything to do with keeping the money and available money to invest. And actually, it's about transparency.
So Jeff, if the money was in the separate account, like you just said,
Mhm.
would it be earning interest in that account for the school or still for the town?
No, still for the town, because what would happen, Bill, is it would be like one of the, like if we went back to the page with the bank accounts on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was page 17 in the packet, but is the cash balances one.
Uh-huh.
The accounts at the bank level, like the account 10045129,
Uh-huh.
that account is a zero account. So what happens is if there's money that comes in or money that goes out, the bank automatically rolls money to that account to make it zero. So like if you looked on the bank register every month, every like time, it would be zero. So there's money in this account, but that's because there was money that showed up on July 31st that the town is putting on its books, but it hasn't cleared the bank. So tomorrow that money got flushed into the investment account, 5096. So
Okay.
if we did that type of account, Bill, that would be a home run for me, home run for the treasurer. But it would
That's
require,
basically what you're saying was done 5 years ago. It was just right. That's
yeah, just well, what was done 5 years ago is every check, every town check and every school check ran out of account 5111. All the checks ran out of the same account. And it was a sweep account. So nobody ever had any problem because money was swept to it.
okay.
Right. Now, in my head, what I would sit there and want to do is we could do it that way. Or we could sit there and put into a new account, let's say like account 10005, and call it the new AES account, which would be a town account.
Mhm.
And it would be a sweep account. The school would run it. The school could have the same signers, add Matt to it. I mean, because Matt should be on that account. And we go from there. But it's just being able to work together and to improve our ability to earn money, but in the end, part of what I'm after is transparency.
So where does it stand right now in terms of
Yeah, right
what are
now.
you doing this month?
Well, I have tomorrow, because I don't have any of their check registers and the treasurer's been away. So I have to sit there and send an email to the superintendent and to um, the board chair and just say, hey, listen, there's a lot to this. I really should get a detailed reconciliation of the bank account. We should understand what's in the account today because they've gotten $900,000. So you need all of the check registers for the entire period before July and August so far. Um, so what they should do is they should provide the entire detailed check register for the account, and then we should sit there and determine how much more they've received than they needed, and then give them $100,000 and what they need. It's not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy.
It's not going to happen.
And if we don't work, well, if it doesn't happen that way, I'm going to have a meeting with the Board of Selectmen and I'm going to sit there and say, well, we're going to fund them week to week. I mean, why fund $485,000 all up front or $458,000? Why not fund $100,000 each week? Right? And it still is wrong because they're going to sit there and have money that they're going to pile up in that account because they're not spending that. And you don't know, and I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be easy.
So far that we've done the old process of what you're saying, Jeff. They've been getting the $450,000 a month.
Correct.
Okay.
If you look in this cycle, they got 2 payments because I tried to get this done at the beginning of this cycle. And if you look in the check register, right, on July 2nd, they got $100,000. When did they get that? They got that on July 2nd. There was a $100,000 transfer paid to them. And then on July 10th, they got $383,000. And the reason why they did that, so you understand it, and I can be as transparent, I only had a board of 3 members. And to actually I would have, if the people didn't resign, this would have gotten done one way, but they resigned. And what had to happen was I needed a full board to vote on this. So anyway, they got the whole thing. Then they've gotten $483,000. So right now they have $960,000 in that account. I don't know what they've spent out of the 960. You guys don't know. I don't know. I don't even think the Board of Education knows. And they've spent they have $960,000 because the next month's payment was made the beginning of August. So now we're at this beginning of September in another week, and we have to decide what we're going to do. So right now, what I would like to do is I'd like to sit there and go through the process and, as you said, Rob, see how it works. I honestly think that it would work better going back the way it would, because if we went back that way, we could sit there and have a sweep account and there would never be a problem with a check not clearing, not cashing, not having enough money, having all kinds of confusion. If the board wants to write a check out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they want to sit there and say to the town, you've got to make a deposit every month, every day, yeah, that's going to be problematic. So
What I'm after is smooth operations. So
the only way you get
let's
smooth
work on that.
operations is if we work together.
Okay.
That's it. So
Okay. Well, I don't know that there's much more we can do tonight on that. We're gonna have to see how this goes. We have on our agenda liaison reports. We already sort of discussed that people didn't make the bathroom project meeting. We didn't have CIP this month, so nothing there, which would bring us to board open discussion. Meeting minutes. We have one set of meeting minutes
Yep.
in our packet.
Yep.
That's a miracle.
I know, we're almost caught up. Look at that.
There's only one. That's
Fantastic.
Okay. Does anybody have anything on those? Or let's see. Do we have 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, so it's the same group that was there that night. That's good. So we can all vote on this.
Oh, yes. I had just a couple minor typos.
Okay.
Under number 4, Mahoney Sable,
Yeah.
halfway down, the town no longer
Record.
no longer records balances and activities that are already accounted by the school. The town no longer
I think it's the idea is that
records balances.
the recommendation was that the town no longer record.
Oh, town
It was
no
it was
longer.
an issue of reconciliation, if memory serves, that
Right.
went into our corrective action plan.
Recommendations on repeated finding that the town no longer record.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I get it now. Yep, it's
I
probably
see
fine
it's a
then.
little clunky, but I think it works.
No,
Yeah.
but now if you add the previous part, you're right. Okay. On the next page,
Mhm.
just above number 5, the
Mhm.
last paragraph, first sentence, discussed interest earned.
Oh, interested.
Because it says interest, so interested should say interest.
Interest.
Yep.
Take ED off.
Yeah. That's all I found. I don't know if anybody else took a look.
It's weird how you can read that, Liz, and I would just read right over that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Discussed interest, and you wouldn't even see that it was spelled. It's just weird.
It's
Yeah.
not the
Read too
sort of thing
fast.
spell check's going to catch. That's for sure. It's a
You
You know what?
good word.
I'm sure I've read over stuff that's not right. Like not everybody's going to catch exactly the same thing. So
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
I
funny
just-
because it looks
Good.
right,
I'm
and you're
glad
just
you looked
reading
through
away.
it. I'm okay with them with that one change. If anybody
Yeah,
else has anything, speak now. And my recommendation was we go ahead and vote this through.
I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes
For the
for 7/22,
22nd.
2026,
That one.
as amended by Liz's 2 comments. I guess actually only the one amended, taking ED off of interest. That
On
was just
page
one
2.
Yeah.
change. So that's what my motion will be.
Second.
Great. All right. All in favor? We'll go around. Liz, yes. Me, yes. Bill?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Heather?
Heather?
Yes.
Yeah. Nick?
Yes.
Okay, great. 5-0. Motion passes. Minutes done. Huzzah. Back to my agenda. All right. That brings us to board open discussion. Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss? We're coming up on 9 o'clock. I hope not, but if you do, now is the time.
No pressure.
Pressure. Oh, I know. I didn't put the damper on that or anything, did I? Ugh.
So
Terrible,
I guess my
terrible
only
behavior.
discussion would be how soon do we want to have this meeting between the tri-board, not the future tri-board, but the one focusing on the finances and the payments. When are we going to try and get this done?
Well, I would look at next month. I mean, shouldn't we
Next
try and
month?
get this done as soon as we can? I mean,
ASAP.
I would say
ASAP.
ASAP.
As I
Yeah.
feel like this is in a little bit of a limbo space right now, and we don't want that.
No.
How is this going to be different from the tri-board? Like what is, I mean, to me, this seems like a tri-board,
It
right?
It
is.
seems like a tri-board.
Is there a different
listen,
policy?
It
or
doesn't
different?
need to be all of us to get to this meeting. It needs to get, I
Oh.
mean, it just needs
Okay.
to be able to, we need to work together. The tri-board, we need to work together. We need to work together on all of this stuff. And it
Okay.
can be easy, but this one is just more of a focused,
Procedure.
hey,
Okay.
this is the procedure that's going to happen, and how are you going to are you going to play nice? Or if you're not going to play nice, because listen, if the town sat there and said we didn't get the information, we don't need to fund it. That's not the right attitude to have, right? So we're
Right.
going to work
Right.
with everybody. Let's work with them, but there has to be some give and take. There has to be compromises on both sides, and you got to understand what we should be doing as a group, as all of us. We should all be on the same team. This thing is tiring, to be really honest. God awful tiring.
Sure is.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm tired. So,
Yeah. Me
Um,
too.
but we'll sit there. We'll sit there,
agree.
and we're gonna. I don't know if you know this, but sometimes it feels like a war of attrition, and there's people that'll wait you out, and there's some people who are really good at waiting you out. And if you get more tired than they do, they win. So maybe this time, maybe I'll get some more energy.
All right. Um,
Has to happen by
on
Monday.
scheduling.
Yeah. It has to happen for Monday. It's the 31st on Monday. September 1st is the next day. I mean, listen, we're gonna work through it. The
All right.
school is not gonna suffer, but you want to know what I would ask? And Rob, I would ask, they've got $986,000 so far, right? It's 10%, not 8% of their budget. Have they spent it? How much do they have left? I'm just telling you to ask the questions, so anyway, we'll sit there and we'll get it done.
All right.
I would be
Very good.
available Monday if you wanted to set it up for Monday.
Uh-oh.
I'm available for Monday too. So
Wait,
by all means.
Monday. Okay. Well, let's see.
Rob's like, wait, what?
What? I thought we were talking. All right. I thought we were talking about scheduling something.
With the school.
Yeah,
That's
I
what we're
know.
talking about.
All right. Well, we'll see. All right. Monday might be difficult for me, but we'll see if we can make it work. Whatever. Look, we're going to get emails out there. You said you're going to send an email. I'm going to respond to it. I'm going to send it. We're going to get it to Caitlin. We're going to get it to Val, Jody, whoever else. But pulling it together for Monday. Wow. Okay. We'll see if we can do it. All right. We'll see what we can do.
Correspondence.
Correspondence. Well, I forwarded some stuff today to everybody to try, that I was behind on sending out to everybody. So in any event, I don't have, let's see. I don't have anything beyond that, I don't believe. I realized I hadn't sent around the final audit documents that Matt had sent me, so I sent those around just now. But I don't have anything in particular, I don't believe, correspondence-wise, beyond what I've just already forwarded the board, which was stuff related to the thing we were just talking about, the funding process, and the audit.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
All right. You want to do a quick public speak and get this thing wrapped up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think we have a couple of troopers left. Joanne?
Trust me, I do want to fade out into the sunset and not always be present, but I do retain a lot of information, and having served on the board, I just kind of want to follow it through and make sure everybody's just following through of the things that I've seen happen for years. So quickly, I got to give Mr. McGuire a lot of credit because, I give credit where credit is due because he has repeated things. He's talked about processes. He's told what the systems have been, patiently, and to all of you so that everybody understands it. So I think that's great. I am glad that you have transparency with the funds. I haven't looked at the packet. Hopefully they're out there for the public, so that we can see, and that, like you all said, it's really important in your next budget season because they just weren't available. And, everybody's trying to keep these budgets down, and you guys know in the balances, you can make those smart decisions. Lastly, I wanted to say, because in the essence of saving money, I will be sending you guys an email tomorrow. I don't usually get responses. I get you're all busy like myself, but because you haven't met with, and I won't talk about it publicly at all here. I just want to say that I'm doing it so that it's out there. I have found a lot of, in researching for my own job, employee contracts where they do talk about the fee in lieu of insurance or what they do as a community that are very fair. So it's right there in writing for you. You don't even have to research it. A lot of towns don't even do it anymore, but that's an astronomical price that it's costing the town. I know you're all going to work on it. So I'll send that in an email, and continued good work and good luck.
Thanks, Joanne. All right, and I apologize. It's my brain's fried. I can't remember your name again, Mr. Resident.
Ben.
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 I just had two last little things on the funds. I noticed that the opioid crisis funds are missing on the treasurer report, and the NIP funds are missing on the report as well.
I'm sorry, what was the first fund you said?
The opioid crisis fund. The state says that we got
Crisis fund, okay.
about $47,000 from that, and then the NIP fund is about $4,000.
What's the second one?
NIP
Spell it?
from the alcohol sales.
Oh, the
Oh,
nips.
nip.
Oh,
Nippers.
oh.
Nips.
I get it. Sorry, for a second there, I just wasn't processing what you were saying.
I wasn't either. The nip.
I didn't know we had funds. I didn't remember that we had a fund for that.
Yeah,
didn't either.
I didn't know if it was in like the transfer station for recycling or how you guys did that. I looked it up on the state website and it said that we should be receiving about $4,000. So
We'll have to look into that. I don't know, Matt, maybe when you have a chance, look into it. Because honestly, off the top of my head, I can't answer your question. But thanks for raising it.
Yep. And then for the school, I think we should do the sweep accounts. If that helps anybody, I know
Yeah.
it's been a hostile environment between everybody, but I think the sweep accounts, I agree with Jeff, the sweep accounts would be the best course of action.
Okay.
And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for showing up and having your say. All right. So that brings us to adjournment, folks.
Yep. I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Liz seconds, Bill motions, Bill seconds. Very good. All in favor? I'm a yes. Bill's a yes. Liz is a yes. Heather's a yes. And Nick?
It's a yes. Feeding the
It's a
cat.
yes.
Sorry.
It's all good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Being
Thanks, everyone.
adjourned. Stop the
Thank you.
recording, please.
Bye.
And Jeff, I'll look for your email. We'll see if we can get something scheduled.
You got it.
All right, sir.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.